Welcome back. Good morning, everyone. I'm Shelly, and I'm coming to you from Shelly's Flowers, starting with a flower garden and continuing to expand it and heading into a flower farm. I have a great video for you today. Let's talk about a natural way for you to fertilize plants in your vegetable garden, in your flower garden, without buying any kind of synthetic fertilizers, since those contribute to or have carcinogens that become forever in the soil, and it irritates what you're wanting to do. So let's go into the grow room and we'll talk about that. Thanks. Okay, we're back in the grow room. Let's talk about some easy ways for you to make the fertilizer that usually has 3 numbers, like 10 10 10, 5 10 5. It's going to have a percentage of our important nutrients for your plants. So let me set this camera down so I can use both hands and show you an easy way that you can do this. Okay, this is not great, but it is set up and it's somewhat balanced. Okay, you're going to look at NPK for those 3 numbers when you're thinking of fertilizing anything in your garden, your fruit trees, your flower farm, anything like that. So I want to show you what I do and what's easy. And actually my land is so rich, I found out that I don't need very much. The first one is spent coffee grounds. I set these by the windowsill so they'll kind of dry out, because I've noticed they'll mold otherwise if you just pile those on. If you drink coffee in pods, then you would want to open up the pod before you're throwing it out and dump it in on a plate. Or I like to use these paper plates and paper bowls. That covers our N. And let me tell you, N is for nitrogen. And nitrogen for our plants makes some very healthy greenery. So it doesn't help your plant fruit, but it's going to make it deep green and lots of foliage. And that's one of the healthy things that you can do for your plant. Let me take these off so I can see a little bit better. So we've got our N. Now P, and also let me just tell you as we're going into this, I am careful not to overdo it. I like to sprinkle some of these things around the top and let it seep into the soil naturally. So P is potassium. Potassium, our best source of potassium, comes from bananas. So just for instance, if you're making banana nut bread, it takes 3 bananas. Or if you're making a fruit salad bowl and you want to put some bananas in there toward the end when you're taking it somewhere, then take your banana peels. You can put them into anything you want. I like to use the quart-sized jars that would use to pickle your cucumbers. Another thing I like to put them in is my watering can. So drop that down. If you're using several jars, drop one in there and fill it up with water. Close up the top because you're going to use it a little bit later. The last one. So we have nitrogen. We have potassium. The final one is calcium. Oh, it strengthens your roots and dang, I may just put it here so you can see it because I go blank sometimes. If you remember, I'm still kind of in a recovery phase, and I may not ever get my speech back to be as fluent as it was before. So let's go on to the K is for calcium. The easiest way, the natural way that we can use products is natural products that won't cause carcinogens that promote cancer, is to save your eggshells. So if you're making omelets in the morning, you have the eggshells there. Don't toss them in the trash because they're so valuable. I put them on a paper plate. You can put them anywhere you want to, but what you need to do, and don't forget this, sometimes people forget to talk about this, is put them in the microwave for just a few seconds. Sometimes I do as many as 10 seconds. It only takes a little bit. So what you're doing is you're cooking and drying out that slimy inside stuff that can develop into salmonella. So don't worry about it. Just know that your shells need to be dried. Whew, I'm sweating. We've had a lot of rain here and it's humid. So go ahead and do that. If you're ready to use them, I'll talk to you about that. If you're not, set them aside. Set them somewhere on the cabinet, maybe in a windowsill. Just do the same thing as you're doing with the others. Okay, to process your eggshells when you have several collected, crumble those up, and then take what you have left. You can use it that way, but one thing that works best or better for me is to drop it in the blender, give it a couple of some power for it to blend it up, and then take it back out, put it on your tray. Now, that calcium helps the cell walls absorb nutrients that it needs for the plant and the roots. It just aids in that absorption. So with that, it's going to make it much easier for it to pull in the nutrients that it needs. And it doesn't take very much. Sometimes I just put those on top, I mean, you can overdo it easily, and I'm sure you already know that. But what you want to do is take some of this, take some of the calcium, sprinkle it around the base of the plant. You do not need a lot. I mean, it's not going to kill it, but if you'll see, just be observant with your plants after that. If you've gotten it too heavy, you will notice that the tinges, the outside of the leaf will begin to what we would call burn, but basically it would just yellow if it has too much. It will recover from that. It's okay. And then take your potassium that you've saved the banana peels in, dump those into, or the water, it's much easier, into your watering can, and put just a tad bit of that around the roots of your plant, around the base of your plant. My guess, I mean, you can do this as often as every 3 weeks. It kind of depends on your soil. If you see that your plants aren't growing the way that you anticipated, or the way that maybe they grew last year, they're just slower to get going, use your NPK and use your natural resources so we're not bothering the soil below your plants is alive and it's moving, and we want to have worms to come up and chew around and make some in aerated places. And that's not what you want. Things that you can think about. If you don't drink coffee, let me just give you a tip here. Starbucks has always offered spent coffee grounds to anybody that wants it. So I'll just tell you about my experience of going into Starbucks. I asked if they had any spent coffee grounds. They're like, sure, give me a second. So they took care of the people they had in their line. They packaged their spent coffee grounds. It was huge, so much more than I ever needed. And then they put them in a box. And I was like, I can carry them. I was like, no, we do this. We do this for everyone. They took the box and loaded it in my car for me. And I was like, wow. Just as kind as they can be. And if you don't eat eggs a lot, sometimes you can get your neighbors to save those eggshells, because it's so much better than throwing them in the trash. We might as well get good use of them. Okay, leave your questions below. I answer everything. I enjoy reading. It often reminds me of some things that I can share. I love doing these YouTube videos because when I began, I started learning so much from videos, and it was during our pandemic that I began to be more interested in learning more. And so that just worked out so well. And thank you for joining me. Will you put a like and tap on that red subscribe button? I only need, I think it's 6 more subscribers to make 500. So, like, yay. All right, we'll see you soon.